Hi, I'm Yannick Hanfman.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
This is Sebastian Olfner.
It's Marc-Andrea Whistler.
I am Francisco Cerundolo.
And you're listening to the GTL podcast.
Hopefully you enjoy it.
Well, hey, we're back. It's Game to Love. Good evening to all of the tennis fans around the globe. Me and Ben are here, and we've got a very, very interesting podcast lined up for this evening. Please join us in the live chat. We are live. We'll read out some comments, especially from all of the members and any super chats. And usually what we had planned for an evening like this, just following Cincinnati, was to speak about Jannik Sinner and how great he is on a tennis court and how amazing he's been. He won the Masters event there, his first time winning Cincinnati. However, that is not the case today. And we are speaking about something which I don't think I'm exaggerating by saying has taken the whole tennis world by storm. Everyone on Twitter is speaking about it. I turned the TV on earlier and they're speaking about Jannik Sinner. And it's not for his tennis. It is for a big, big story, what broke today. And that is what happened back in March, which was kept undercover completely. Nobody knew about it whatsoever. And that is world number one, Jannik Sinner, has been cleared of any wrongdoing after twice testing positive for a banned substance in March, which was during the Indian Wells tournament this year. The Italian tested positive for low levels of metabolite of clostebol, a steroid that can be used to build muscle mass. A further sample was taken 8 days later, and that also tested positive for low levels of the same metabolite. A provisional suspension was applied automatically, but as Sinner challenged it successfully, he was able to keep playing. So there's loads of uproars here. The big one is, how was this kept under wraps for so long? And with other cases, we was able to find out straight away. And then when he did test positive on two separate occasions, 8 days apart, why was he not provisionally suspended? Over to you, Ben.
Wow, I think, you're definitely passionate. Jannik Sinner coming from, you're part Italian, so this is very upsetting for a lot of people in Italy right now for this to be coming out just after him having a massive victory. Obviously, he's been coming back from injury, from sickness, and now this whole Cincinnati, I think it was a show of excellence, really, by Jannik Sinner at Cincinnati, as now this big cloud has just been coming over the whole of his performances this whole year. And that's the crazy thing now, is we don't know what to believe. We're in the world at the moment where there's a lot of misinformation, but I don't think we had even any information on this. And that's the craziest thing, like you said. How was there not even a peep from anybody about this going on back in March, or none of the media sources were covering this whatsoever? And that's the biggest shocking thing, and it's led to a lot of uproar in the tennis community. Social media's gone crazy, and I think there's a lot of disgruntled tennis players out there who have been, hard done by come the same system, and they don't like to see preferential treatment when it comes to top-notch tennis players who are at the top of the sport, like Jannik Sinner, the new world number one, and I can see why.
There's so much to get into. Let's start with some player reactions. And, there's been a lot of players who have had their say. Great that we're getting some comments in. We will read some of them out in a moment, so please do keep them coming. And this is actually quite a good tweet because it is Cabuenas Buena putting it on his Instagram story, and it's got pretty much everyone else, or not everyone, there was plenty more, but some of the players just visibly very upset and frustrated, calling it double standards. We've got Lucas Puig there saying, what about players that got banned for 3 no-shows only and never tested positive? Someone I do know very well on the podcast, Jensen Brooksby, currently banned for not showing up to them. Not even testing positive. Denis Shapovalov, can't imagine what every other player that got banned for contaminated substances is feeling right now. Moving down,
Yeah,
let's get through
definitely.
some of these other ones. So Chapo was very vocal, saying different rules for different players. Nick Kyrgios, another big spokesman. He was speaking all day about this. He was countering people on social media. He said, ridiculous. Whether it was accidental or planned, you get tested twice with a banned steroid substance. You should be gone for 2 years. Your performance was enhanced. Massage cream, yeah, nice. And, you've got Gastiel Elias saying tennis is officially a joke. Liam Brody, whether Sinner was doping or not, this is not right. Plenty of players go through the same thing and have to wait months or years for their innocence to be declared. Not a good look. We know the big high-profile one recently, Simona Halep. She wasn't able to play at all, and it just seems that there's no consistency. There's one rule for one player, one rule for someone else, and I think it's very shady that this was kept under wraps for so long. I think it should be in the public domain, and he was actually banned for a few days at the start of April. People don't know about that. He wasn't able to play during that little window. It was only a few days, and then he was playing again. It's brought into question so many things about his injuries. Yeah, that's right, Madrid. We've got Kyrgios going back to someone saying, accidental. You truly believe that the physio rubbed physio cream onto the cut that made him foul 2 anabolic steroid tests? Come on, potato.
I love Kyrgios. He really knows how to stir the pot. And this, it's almost a bit like Tyson Fury. He calls everyone sausage. Kyrgios calls everyone potato. I mean, is this just like they just throw vegetable or meat insults at each other these days? Just food insults is what we call each other these days. But I do get where Kyrgios is coming from as well. I think this whole thing, it does make a bit of a joke of the whole thing. Gastiel Elias, I think this is a really good one. Like, it is a bit of a joke. The whole Simona Halep thing, her name got dragged through the mud. Let's be honest. Her career was destroyed by the whole thing, and it was made vocal straight away. And she tried to defend herself, and all it did was they tried to make her look more guilty, if anything. And then she lost on the first occasion, and eventually, what was it, like a year or so later, then she eventually comes out as being not innocent, but not her fault at the end of the day. So it's just like, how can she receive that type of treatment? And it's sort of like she's being prosecuted by media, whereas Yannick Sinner, the media haven't gone after him at all. They've literally just left him alone. I mean, it's double standards. 2-tier, some might say.
Enough of the UK politics. Let's bring up a tweet from Owen. And this is a nice one. It's tested positive twice, with the tests being over a week apart from each other, and was just allowed to keep playing. Why haven't other players gotten that grace? That's crazy. And this graphic's quite good because you can see tested positive for Klosterbolt in two different urine samples, 8 days apart. I think if it's a mistake with the gloves and he's having a massage and the physiotherapist didn't have the gloves on and a little bit from his cut finger has gone on to Yannick Sinner and then contaminated by, was it 1/1000th of a gram or something ridiculous? Yeah. Would it happen 8 days apart? Does it mean it have to happen twice, or is it still there on him? There's so many questions, and I think having two separate ones makes it a little bit shadier, to say the least. It was exposed for a full body massages from a physio, Giacomo Naldi. The dodgy thing with this is he was also a physio where there was some kind of contamination in another sportsman in Italy. I think it was basketball. So you've got that whole dynamic. No fault or negligence has been found on Yannick Sinner's part. That seems very, very bizarre. Surely there is some level of negligence if he tests positive. He's responsible for his own body. He's responsible for hiring that physio who made a mistake, which for me makes it Yannick Sinner's responsibility. It's unfortunate, for sure, and these things can happen by mistake, but still, to be playing, and I'm not out here saying Yannick Sinner is guilty, he's done this on purpose. It's difficult to say. We'll have more of a say on that in a minute. But the point is, if you test positive on 2 occasions, the process which we're familiar with is that you're not allowed to just keep playing tennis. He then lost 400 ranking points, which is from India and Wales, and $325,000, getting all the way to the semi-final. Well, sorry, he got to the final, did he not? Against Alcaraz, or did he lose the semis?
Where are you talking about?
In Indian Wells. I think he got to the final. I forget. I thought he was.
Yeah,
I thought he
can't
played him in
remember
the
off the top of
final,
my
but still, yeah. The big thing what people are saying is if he's so innocent now and he's been proven to be that it is just contaminated and a mistake, why would you lose the 400 ranking points and get fined? Bit harsh if it's not his fault, isn't it?
Well, it's one of these. Like, well, then you go back to the whole thing. Like Kirill was saying, shouldn't it be like if you're getting banned, or even if you're missing them, you're getting actually banned off the tour. You're getting suspended. Where was it wasn't really a just suspension. I don't feel here. It was a few days. I mean, how is that the same thing as what everybody else goes through on the tour? I don't really understand that, to be honest.
I understand that because there was he lodged an appeal which was successful, which the other players were unable to achieve. That successful appeal on 2 different occasions, and that's what gave him that that grace period to be short, to be basically only be a little while.
Okay.
The point is, why was he able to get this appeal? And you're sort of going on to a bit I had for the end of the video, but if you want to go there now, Ben, we can go there if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of it. And that is from Tennis Sangren, I believe.
Go on.
And is it Tennis Sangren? It may be. I mean, we've got so many here. And this is I guess this is what's interesting anyway. So this is what the biggest problem is. Yeah. Suspended on 2 different occasions, and it was lifted before the tribunal was put in place. This is a crazy double standard, as every other occasion I'm aware of in tennis requires the athlete to sit out until the tribunal makes a ruling. Who is Mr. Mark Hovell, and how does he now all of a sudden have the power to unilaterally clear players? And that's exactly what happened. So the player was originally suspended from the 4th until the 5th, and the 17th until the 20th, when the suspension was lifted on each occasion following an urgent application before Mr. Mark Hovell, on the chair, on the papers.
Yeah.
It seems like there was some intervention which hasn't happened in previous cases.
So a clear double standard then, like of somebody getting preferential treatment from the chair, then it would seem. I mean, obviously we know tennis, as much as we like to think it's all about just the competition and the best player, well, whoever plays best in the tournament wins. Those tournaments want the best players. They want the number 1, the number 2. They want all the top players in there. It's all about money. They're trying to draw fans to get them sat in the seats. They want sponsors. They want everything in tennis and in sport, essentially, is about money. And not having Yannick Sinner at an event, especially this year when he's now won his first ever Grand Slam title, it's devastating for tournaments because he had such a massive a following after winning that Australian Open. To lose him for a tournament or even a few tournaments, imagine losing him for a year. I mean, that's devastating for revenues on tournaments all around the world. So you can understand where they're coming from a business standpoint, but it still stinks.
Yeah, next we're going to go to a big Djokovic fan. It's Shoba or something like that. The at's Novak Djokovic.
Okay.
So put that into perspective. This is a big Djokovic fan who's saying this, but I think he makes a valid point. He says, at this point, it doesn't matter if Sinner is innocent or not. Even if he is innocent, the fact that the rules were bent, the system was manipulated, and people were kept in the dark for so long speaks volumes about the ethics of the ATP and Yannick Sinner. He's thrown Yannick Sinner in that as well. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, it does make a fair point, though. That's the thing that's said here. It's like the rules were sort of bent. The main thing that I can't get away from is how everyone was kept in the dark. I think that is the one thing which is coming to light now. And this is the one thing that the media, where they work hand in hand with big corporations, it becomes more evident in situations like this. If they want you to be dragged through the mud, a la Simona Halep, you get dragged through the mud. If they don't want you dragged through the mud and they want you to be a cash cow for the business, then you're allowed to play. There you go. We'll do everything possible to keep your name out the mud. There you go.
Yeah, dodgy. And I'm going to read out some comments. And if you do leave a super chat, I'll make sure to read it. So let's go to Mama Tiam first. Thank you for the $2.
Cheers, man.
And Mama has said, if it was a random player, they would have been punished very fast. And
yeah,
we've seen that many, many times. I don't know if you're going to go through some of the examples now. We're not going to read all of the quotes from them and what they've said, but some of the big high-profile ones.
Other players? You want to
Yeah, just the big players, I think. So you got Tara Moore, one of them, who has been banned. We know she's been banned for a while, and she's back, and it's been really tough for her. You've then also got who's the guy I said earlier, the American guy, Jensen Brooksby, who's been banned. We've seen the Chilean guy recently. What's his name?
Garin.
Not Garin, the one who plays now, Ben.
Jarry,
he was banned. We had, God, there's so many things. Do you have them there, Ben?
What, is there a list of all of the players?
No, there's not a list. It's just the ones I've sent you, but I don't remember all the names off the top of my head.
Ema, was he one?
So you've got Sharapova at a period. You had Gasquet. You had Cilic, Halep recently, and there was a tweet which goes through different ones. Let me see if I can find that.
Tell me the name of the person.
Christopher Johnson. So some context what Kyrgios was saying. Sharapova, Halep, Moore, others suspended, RE doping. We had Rafa, Serena questioned. We had Djokovic banned for refusing to put a drug in his body. And the ATP promoted Sinner as the nice guy and the new face of tennis, even after failed doping tests and mysterious injuries. We'll get onto that in a second. But there's been severe punishment for all of the players at the top of the sport. It's very bizarre that, listen, Yannick Sinner, I really, on my heart of hearts, want to believe he's innocent and there's nothing to this. I really do want to believe that. And he's been cleared. However, why was it not public? I can't understand that. And I think all it's done is made this whole situation so much worse because...
Yeah.
I think if you have to hide something, you can't be very open and honest about it. It means something shady and dodgy is going on behind the scenes. Because why don't you just go through the same process as every other player, announce it publicly, and then you be suspended from the tour until it's resolved, until he's tested. Oh, okay, we understand the panel's come forward and said we deem him to be innocent and it was a contaminated source because of his physiotherapist, blah, 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 blah. Get to that stage. You can't just continue playing and just forget it all happened and no one knows. And he's winning Grand Slams he wasn't winning Grand Slams. He's winning events, going far. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. And it's embarrassing for the sport. I think it's just really made it look bad, personally. It stained it.
Well, yeah, obviously we don't want it to be any legitimate intent from his side. I mean, if there was, then you'd lose... like so much respect for him, like as a person. I personally don't think that this would have had anything to do with anything he would have knowingly or wantingly have taken, or that's my personal opinion. Obviously, I'm entitled to it. Everybody else can probably say, I think he might have taken it, that type of thing. I don't think he did, but the thing I'm in more outrage is the whole cover-up and this has just exposed the whole tour and the whole tennis and the whole big wigs, everything, and what tennis, the whole machine and how it's actually working. And that's the big sort of angry part within me today about this whole thing is, how am I only finding out in August something that happened in March? I mean, it's just insane to me. We're supposed to be running a tennis podcast. We're supposed to be running a tennis channel. How are we reporting on something like 5 months later? It's insane.
Well, because it's only public now.
Yeah, exactly. We're supposed to have an ear to the ground. It's crazy. I mean, let's go through some other tweets as well, because there's quite a few of them. We've got Vasek Pospisil, obviously, big with Djokovic in the Players' Council, that type of thing. So a person who other players listen to a lot. And he said it's even worse now that they're giving filing failures and going back months to see where you made the errors in the details of your submissions. It's happened to me already where I put the right address and time. They never came to test me, but later saw that my in competition versus out of competition entry wasn't accurate. They went back 2 months to give me a strike for it. I appealed and it didn't get overturned. So you can have 2 filing failures and 1 no-show and be banned for 2 years. That's insane.
I mean, it's very strict. Jensen Brooksby is currently undergoing the same thing right now. We know of a top player like him. And Tara Moore, someone who's just come back, British player. Is she British, Tara Moore, or American?
don't know.
I lost my
don't really
thing
know
a second.
Don't really know the name.
Tara
too
Moore,
well.
she's British. Yeah, she is British.
Sorry.
She's been playing in the doubles recently, but
okay.
ITFs. It's generally insane, and I can't believe it. We've got Jane in the live chat saying the radio silence from all parties is the worst part, in my opinion. Unclear if that was within the rules. We've got Min in saying after watching the Lance Armstrong documentaries, tennis doping cases are nothing. You'll have no idea what real doping is. And maybe we can speak about that part as well, because everyone's saying and emphasising on this 1/1000th of a gram, which was found. And I do have a tweet regarding this.
Is it this one?
And it's from Nina.
Yeah.
And, well, it's quite interesting because I don't know much about this kind of stuff. So I'm going to let you read this because I feel like it's got some really nice words in it for you.
Cool, here we go. It is just midnight, just in case anyone's wondering. Says, I hate when you do this. And just laughing. Nano is billionth. And it says 10 to the -9 or so. Is that
10 to the power of -9.
Yeah, something like that. And its scale of what testosterone or other androgens are measured in as nanograms per deciliter. It says estrogen for e.g. usually in picograms. Picograms I'm very familiar with because in the UFC, this is what John Jones got done for, was picograms worth of a banned substance, which apparently it's so small that they were making sort of a joke of it. It was like, how is that going to enhance my performance? Had a picogram. But it's not the fact that would enhance his performance. It's the fact it's there at all means there might have been more of it there at some point, and you've tried to get it out your system, and there's a little picogram left. And
exactly. And I think that's the thing what people are missing here. There's been a lot of people saying, what 1/1000th of a gram is going to have an impact on his performance? Probably wouldn't, I'll be honest. I don't think it would. And it's so small. But the point is, if you've got that on 2 separate tests in a urine sample, it's come back with not a picogram, was it? It was a nanogram. I don't know if it was a nanogram. It was definitely a billionth of a gram, whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what the term for a billionth of a gram is, but
I don't really know. I don't think we're going to go into that.
No, we're not going to go into that. But was there more? And that's the only bit that wasn't flushed out the system. And the worst part about all of this is if you had looked at Yannick Sinner from last year, the one criticism we had was physically looked a little bit weak and he needed to bulk up a bit more. Well, this is the drug what does exactly that. So if you want to build muscle mass, you take this drug. It's just like it couldn't have been a worse one, I don't think.
Well, that is the crazy thing, isn't it? And
the Cinegram, someone said it is. He got a Cinegram in there.
Well, that's
good comment.
I like it. A Cinegram. I was thinking, is he turning into a bit of his own name right now? Is he becoming?
I've seen that one as well.
Is he becoming the sinner now?
Someone was like, I don't feel bad now calling him Yannick Sinner because he is an actual sinner.
Yeah, and like Catherine saying, sinner have sinned. Maybe. But this is the thing, we don't know if it's knowingly.
But it's that type of drug. Quickly, you saying something on that, the fact that it's that drug with him as a person.
It is that is that type of drug. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Because we know in a lot of sports... And he
improved so quickly as well. He was someone who all of a sudden become good.
And that brings us to the next tweet as well, because I think this will nicely bring it up.
The vomiting one.
Side effects, yeah.
Yep.
Vomiting. I know. Well, I mean, it's one of those things that probably comes up with a lot of side effects on drugs as well. But it does fit a narrative, which is quite good for this. That Sinner became good after vomiting on court. And after that...
Bone and muscle pain. I wonder which player's recently had a problem with his hip.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Does it say tonsillitis on there? Is that
well, it has sore tongue.
I know we shouldn't be laughing about this.
No, the thing is, with the tonsillitis, joking aside, the tonsillitis, was it tonsillitis? I believe that he was unable and ineligible to compete at the Olympics with this hanging over his head, and he probably made the excuse of tonsillitis. Don't know that factually. That is me. that's just me speculating and throwing it out there. But I truly believe this, that he was unable to play the Olympics because of this happening. So I don't know if he even had Olympics. That's just my view, of course. Let me know what you guys have to say. There's going to be some people saying, "Oh, he was sick, he was ill, it was sick." That's fine. You're all entitled to your opinion. Mine was that he didn't have it and he wasn't allowed to be there at the Olympics because of everything hanging over him.
It is, yeah, because it does make you wonder. And that's the one thing, like we said about the picogram thing as well, is with these advancements, you've got to think advancements in medicine and advancements in sport and trying to get the edge on your opponents. Like with the advancements of drugs becomes the advancements of doping as well. You have to remember that. Like even if this isn't a case of it here,
Or the advancements to hide it.
Yeah. That's what I mean. The advancements of becoming a good doper, of getting stuff out of your system before you can be tested, or managing to disguise it within the test, and things that they obviously become wise to them over time. But think about how many medals were won at Olympics in the past that we don't even know about the people that were doping in them. There's probably hundreds. That's the reality of the things with international sport, because everybody wants to get the edge. This one, I'm hoping it's not true, but if it turned out to be true and he turned out to have, well, somebody who was actually a real proper scientist in there. Because remember when we had that, I don't know if anybody's seen it's an amazing documentary on Netflix called Icarus. And it's about the guy who was working for the Russian Olympic team. And he was the scientist who was helping them do the doping. And then he actually broke the story that about the doping. I think that there was a guy who was doing the documentary. He went over to try and test. He brought this guy into the documentary to say, how would I perform in this race without doping, and then with doping. He did the test, and then obviously it was much higher. But this guy who he got in for the documentary then had to go into hiding. He's now still in hiding because Russia wants to obviously top him and kill him off because he exposed their massive lie, and hence why they weren't allowed to compete at the Olympics anymore. So they had a whole program about it, and that is just like, imagine the scientists and the level people go to win at sport.
Thank you, Ben, for the very short story there.
Well,
and,
I don't know. It's a passionate thing about.
No, I know you spoke about it before, and it is interesting for sure. So, and I can definitely see why it's such a touchy subject, and one which people are always very interested in, because it's like you say, there's a lot of cross sport similarities, and it's happening for decades.
Lance Armstrong
for sure
as well. That's the other big one.
But let's just move on slightly, Ben, because we've got some super chats coming in, and that is from Mama Tiam again.
Cheers,
Thank you.
Mama.
Saying the ATP wants to save tennis. Alcaraz would be bored winning slams if Sinner was banned for years. That's why always be one of the best sports that you play. And could be a valid thing here. Do they just want to keep Yannick Sinner there with Djokovic coming to the end? They can't afford for him to be out for a few years. Alcaraz was just dominate on his own. They need tennis rivalries, and it is definitely an interesting thought. We have Gene in the live chat. How are we doing? And he's just echoing what I was saying. Maybe scared of Olympic drug testing. I'm sure it was, like you were saying in your story just then, I'm sure the testing is a little bit stricter. They've got the best people doing it now in the Olympics, because it's across all the sports and they're testing for so many different drugs. Was Yannick just potentially scared of going under that sort of spotlight right now? Or was he just not allowed? We've got Gary. How are we doing, Gary? Great to see you. Saying, unfortunately for Yannick, deserved or not, he may never live this one down. What do you think?
Well, especially... unfortunately, with some of the other fan bases out there, they will use this as a reason to attack now. And that's I
don't think he'll ever recover from it. I said it earlier in my video. I think he'll always now have this sort of hanging over him, which is really unsad.
Yeah, everyone will. Like the same with John Jones in UFC. Despite him being undefeated, it's always that, has he been juicing? That's what people are always asking. Have you been like playing around behind the scenes to try and get an advantage, which I hope is not the case with Yannick Sinner. But let's go on to another tweet as well, because did you just bring up this comment as well? Is this a different one?
I
Was
did
that
have
same
one,
one?
but it's gone off. I'm not sure where it's gone.
This one is a really good tweet, and I feel that we've got to touch on it as well because there's been a common denominator between Yannick Sinner and Simona Halep, and this common denominator is Darren Cahill. Can we read anything into this, or is just more tennis conspiracy theories?
It's Agassi as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's it's not a great catalogue there, but you can see. I mean, Darren Cahill, coach of Halep a few months before, then it was Moratoglu, all went wrong. Then Sinner, and we know what's happened. But yeah, pretty wild to say the least, and I think it's just a coincidence.
I mean, yeah.
I think it's just a coincidence. I
Sorry.
can't play into this conspircy.
Sorry,
I put it
Darren.
on there more for just the, I don't know, for the thrill and the comments and people being interested. I put my hands up and say, I think this is a conspiracy, but it's there. We're just we're providing you all the facts and all the stats and information. You can make your own opinions on it.
Exactly right, yeah.
I'm a coincidence theorist. That's right, drunk Vigo.
I mean, I'm definitely a conspiracy theorist. I love a good conspiracy. There's too many going on in the world right now. What about the yacht that just sank as well? I mean,
not
no,
today.
don't.
Not another story.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too many crazy things that are going on in the world right now. Maybe all of this is just happening just to distract us, JG, from something bigger that's going on. Do you think that there's something else that's going on that we just don't know about, and they brought this out now to cover something else up?
I think you need to stop. Mikel Email, someone else who's been banned. We'd have to go through that long tweet. But it's really sad for him. I wonder how he's feeling right now. There's probably a lot of players sitting there who have gone through this, who are currently going through this, sitting there at home thinking, what the hell? Like, this is not fair. This is not fair. There's different rules for different players, and it's not good enough. And you've got to call it up. Irrelevant to if he's innocent or not, it's not right. We've got another super chat coming in. Thank you, Nearly Solvent, for the £10. It's all it says is dirty Darren Cahill.
Oh dear.
Well, we threw it out there for you guys, and Nearly Solvent's run with it.
Yeah, it's all alleged as well. We're not getting ourselves into trouble on this channel.
Yeah, everything we're saying is alleged. Nothing is fact. It is just opinion and speculation, and just reading out some tweets from the tennis world, because this is how the world reacts to Sinner's doping scandal, as you can see in the title.
Yeah, I'll bring up a few more tweets here as well. We've got Fran here answering. This is the ITIA, who said an independent tribunal has ruled no fault or negligence in the case of Italian tennis player Yannick Sinner. And Fran said, the way all of it was kept under silence until response is the proof dirty stuff only comes out if they want it to come out. Nothing leaks by mistake. Hope it helps.
Yeah, I like this. I agree completely. It's a good last line. It's just showed that every time we see some dirty wrongdoings, I feel like it's leaked for a reason. And I'm not going to go into UK politics. I really could do right now, especially during the COVID era. So you can use your own imagination. But I find that every kind of dirty stuff what comes out in the media, it's come out because they've let it come out. If there's a lot of things, 99% of dirty stuff going on in the world, you'll never know and never hear anything about. You can use your imagination for it. So this not coming out at all for that period, why was that?
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, the other thing is, why bring it up now? Like, you could have just maybe just never mentioned it ever.
I find that there sometimes in these situations, I mean, this is another sporting example when they had to break a story, which was the Ryan Giggs thing. I mean, he had super injunctions against all of the newspapers just to stop story of his affair breaking out. And it boiled over that too many people knew and too many other sources knew that the big papers are like, well, we can't miss out on money. Now everyone knows, we will just print it to earn the money. So that's what happens eventually. When they don't want it leaked by someone else, they were like, we'll take the money, thank you, and we'll have the story and the big headline, because essentially it's all just a money game to them. Like once they'll keep it quiet for as long as possible, but they'll sell you down the river eventually.
I've got another question for you, Ben, and this is from the new gen. And after this, there's only one more, I think. So this one's a good one, though. So, and this is, are the Yannick Sinner's hip injury and tonsillitis real? Or were they all excuses not to compete while he was secretly being investigated for doping, a process during which he has not been suspended and has been able to continue playing despite testing positive on 2 occasions? So over to you. Is this whole hip thing and this nervous looking Yannick Sinner looking to the box, is it because he's being investigated or is he actually injured?
He's been playing pretty well, to be honest, even though he's got a bad hip, should we put inverted commas? That's the thing with it. I mean, it's all...
Do you think the hip and tonsillitis thing's real or fake? Let us know in the live chat, guys.
I'm more...
Just give us fake or not fake.
Because we're not to know. I don't know. I'd say the tonsillitis one's probably more fake than the hip one. I mean, anyone can say, "Oh, I've got a bit of a pain in my hip," or "I've got a bit of a pain in my knee," or how are you going to prove it? You can't prove it. There's no X. Have we got an X-ray of his hip right now? Like in the last few weeks, I haven't seen one. They haven't posted.
That could be fake anyway. You could just pay a doctor.
Yeah, just one from about a year ago. He's like, "Oh, there you go. Just got another. Oh, I got someone else's hip." I mean, it's just they could just literally the world is just unbelievable right now.
You don't know what to believe.
Literally, the word unbelievable, it doesn't mean amazing anymore. It just means you can't believe anything.
Yeah, I feel like it is. I don't know. I feel like tennis, you sort of go for like an escapism, and now that you're seeing the real world problems come into tennis as well,
it's
filtering into everything, and it's just like so much fake news, and no one knows what to believe, a lack of trust, and a society which has never been this divided as it is right now, quite frankly. And
They've done it to us.
Yeah, I think the more people are alert to what's happening, the worse it gets, because everyone then starts second doubting everything and themselves even. The last one I wanted to go for, I don't think I've even sent it to you, but it is Ben Rothenberg. I don't know if you've got this one.
Maybe.
It might be on the other account, the one I sent you.
Is it the no fault where he says that at the top or no?
It's about the points and Novak Djokovic being world number 1.
Okay,
I'll see if I can find it. I mean, it's on his page. You'll easily be able to click on it if you go on there.
I'll go on.
And he's asked the ATP. He's reached out to them. He said, "What will happen? Are we counting Sinner and Djokovic's weeks at number 1? A metric ATP promotes quite a bit, because if Sinner's 400 points from Indian Wells are retroactively subtracted, which would make sense, then Djokovic would have been world number 1 for 1 additional week." Last week. So what is going to happen there? Like, he's lost them points, but the history books are losing out on Djokovic's extra week. In the grand scheme of things, does it really matter that much? No,
yes.
not really. It's 1 week, but still, it's not right, is it? Like, what do you do there? He's reached out to the ATP. They need to comment on this now.
I want to hear I want to hear Djokovic come out and comment on it. I would like to hear what he has to say. If you like,
what do you think they should do then? Do you think they should award Djokovic an extra week?
Yeah, I do. Of course I do.
Well, because you're a fan, or you think that's the best action to take?
Well, I think, 1, I'm a fan, and 2, I definitely do think that's the right. If you're going to deduct some points, then surely that changes the whole landscape of the rankings back at when that happened. But then it just adds a whole level of confusion to other things, though. But for me, if it only affected that 1 week, give Djokovic the week. Why are we holding off and not? If we're going to change points for one player, and you can't allow Sinner to keep his ranking if he's losing the points, surely. I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a good one though by Rothenberg. Well done, Rothers.
Lastly, I know I keep saying the last, there's so much to speak about. Let's look at Giacomo Naldi. That is the physio, or the physiotherapist, the guy doing the massage. And he's got great experience in doing this. He's been working in the sports industry for some time. And yeah, here you can see him with the bandaged finger during Indian Wells. So we know that that's definitely true. He had a problem with his finger. You can see it quite clearly in the image here when he's playing Struff. And there's another one. I don't know if you've got this one. Did I send it to you? If not, I can send it right now on GTL, Ben. And it's about Giacomo Naldi. And he was involved in a similar incident before with another sports team with the same exact banned substance. And you can see this happened with Virtus Bologna, the basketball team, who was working before, and the incident with this player. And it was because he lost 1 year of his career because of a spray, Riccardo Moraschini.
Yeah, I mean, this does go back to the... I know that you were saying this earlier, and I was going to touch on it then, but I'm glad that you brought this back up again now, because you were saying about, like, what is Sinner's involvement in the whole thing? Like, is he responsible for it? He's responsible for his team at the end of the day. If this guy's a part of his team, he should have done the necessary study on this guy's past to know he'd previously given somebody else, even if accidentally, a steroid. I wouldn't want somebody in my team who accidentally gives me steroids. Would you not be doing your vetting a little bit better if you're number one in the world?
Yeah, and one other thing, I don't know if this is factually correct either. I probably need a community note on this or someone to verify this piece of information. It could just be speculation, but I've not looked into it too much. But it's just this is just stuff I've seen on Twitter. We shouldn't read everything and take it as Bible, that's for sure. I've been burned by that a few times before.
Especially on April the 1st.
Yeah, definitely on April the 1st. I think we always get done then. But yeah, this is where we're at. I think we'll wrap it up there. That is the big news. Me and Ben have brought it to you on the day of it all unfolding. We're not speaking about him playing Cincinnati and doing some amazing things there and playing some great tennis against some top players like Zverev and TFO. We're speaking about this big incident, and we want to hear your comments and thoughts in the comment section below. Let us know, and if you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. We'll be bringing you podcast updates as and when we know them. And this was just how the tennis world has reacted, and the world in general. Me and Ben as well. Thank you, everyone. Anything to say, Ben?
Yeah.
Anything you want to promote?
Yeah, if you want to follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go on there, give us a 5-star review. Go on, you want to. Helps us move through the little algorithms. And yeah, when we go on there, it's nice to see a few nice little comments as well.
Yeah, we've got GOG saying Ben and JG, the Woodward and Bernstein of tennis drama. Here we are. We're there. If there's a vaccine story, if there's anything going on, you can always rely on me and Ben. I feel like we are very good at tennis drama, maybe better than anything else, better than tennis analysis or any of the technical stuff or jazz.
Legal cases with our best.
Yeah, we're really good with the legal jargon and medical stories. But yeah, there was something else what I was hoping Ben would say he's going to promote, and that is the song he's been working on. But he needs a little bit of a push.
Yeah,
he just forget.
There is this has really taken over.
Ben Biden, they call him.
That is a little bit. I was going to say maybe I'll put out a new song for this. No, I won't. I'm not doing that. There is a new Djokovic song coming out. You've seen the post on the channel. If you haven't done so yet, go check it out. We're going to hopefully release it tomorrow, as long as there's no other breaking news that takes the world by storm. But yeah, hopefully you like it. And from me, have a good night.
Ooh, little teaser there. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.